The hospital room was a sterile cage of white walls and beeping machines, but for Dr. Lena Harper, it was a battlefield. She stood at the foot of the bed, her hands clasped tightly, staring at the man who had just turned her world upside down. Victor Grayson, a tech mogul worth billions, lay frail beneath crisp sheets, his piercing blue eyes cutting through her like a blade. "If you cure me, Dr. Harper," he rasped, his voice sharp despite his weakened state, "I'll adopt you. You'll inherit everything. My empire, my fortune, my name." The words hung heavy in the air, a challenge wrapped in desperation. Lena's heart pounded. She was 32, orphaned at 10, and had clawed her way through life to become a doctor. Now, this dying man was offering her a family, a legacy, something she'd never had. But his condition was terminal, and the clock was ticking. Lena's childhood was a patchwork of foster homes, each one colder than the last. She'd learned early that trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. Her only solace had been her dream of becoming a doctor, inspired by the kind pediatrician who'd once bandaged her scraped knee and told her she was brave. That dream carried her through sleepless nights studying, through scholarships and loans, until she stood here, a rising star in oncology at St. Augustine's Hospital. Victor Grayson, however, was no ordinary patient. Diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, his prognosis was grim, 6 months at best. Yet, his challenge wasn't just about medicine, it was personal. He had no heirs, no family, only a sprawling empire built on ruthless ambition. Lena sensed his offer was as much a test as it was a promise. The hospital buzzed with rumors about Grayson's proposal. Nurses whispered in break rooms, and colleagues shot Lena curious glances. She ignored them, focusing instead on the medical puzzle before her. Pancreatic cancer was a beast, notorious for its resistance to treatment. Lena pored over Grayson's charts, consulted specialists, and scoured research papers late into the night. Her apartment, a cramped one-bedroom with peeling wallpaper, became a war room of medical journals and coffee cups. Sleep was a distant memory. The challenge wasn't just curing Grayson. It was proving to herself she could do the impossible. But doubt gnawed at her. What if she failed? Would she lose not just a patient, but a chance at the family she'd always longed for? Grayson wasn't an easy patient. He was demanding, his sharp tongue cutting through the hospital's sterile calm. "You're wasting my time, doctor," he'd snap when Lena suggested experimental treatments. Yet, beneath his gruff exterior, she saw flickers of fear. During one late-night visit, when the ward was quiet, he confessed, "I built an empire, but I'm alone. I thought money could buy everything. Turns out, it can't buy time." Lena listened, her heart softening. She saw herself in his loneliness, a mirror of her own. She began to visit him outside her rounds, sharing stories of her childhood to coax him out of his shell. Slowly, a bond formed, fragile but real. The first major challenge came when Lena proposed an aggressive combination of immunotherapy and a new drug trial. The treatment was risky, with side effects that could hasten Grayson's decline. The hospital board hesitated, citing costs and liability. Lena fought tooth and nail, presenting data and pleading her case in tense meetings. "This is his only shot," she argued, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The board relented, but the pressure was immense. If the treatment failed, her reputation and Grayson's life would be on the line. She spent hours explaining the risks to Grayson, who, to her surprise, trusted her judgment. "You're the only one who's ever fought for me," he said quietly, his hand trembling as he signed the consent form. The treatment began, and with it came a roller coaster of hope and despair. Grayson's body reacted poorly at first, fevers, nausea, and crippling fatigue. Lena stayed by his side, adjusting dosages and monitoring vitals, her own exhaustion mounting. She faced her second challenge, balancing her duty to other patients with her obsession to save Grayson. Her supervisor, Dr. Patel, pulled her aside one day, his face stern. "You're burning out, Lena. You can't save everyone, especially not him." The word stung, but she couldn't stop. Grayson wasn't just a patient anymore. He was a father figure, a chance at belonging. She pushed on, ignoring the dark circles under her eyes and the ache in her chest. Weeks turned into months, and small victories emerged. Grayson's tumors shrank slightly, and his energy returned. Lena allowed herself a flicker of hope, But the third challenge loomed, Grayson's own resistance. He grew restless, questioning the treatment's toll. "What's the point if I'm just prolonging the inevitable?" he barked one day, tossing his tray of hospital food. Lena sat with him, her voice calm but firm. "You challenged me to cure you, Victor. Don't give up on me now." She shared a memory of her foster days, how she'd once hidden under a bed, terrified of being sent to another home. "I kept going because I had to believe there was something better. You have to believe that now." Grayson's eyes softened, and he nodded, a silent agreement to keep fighting. The turning point came when a new scan showed significant tumor reduction. Lena nearly cried when she saw the results, her hands shaking as she presented them to Grayson. "You're doing it, kid," he said, his voice thick with emotion. For the first time, he called her Lena instead of doctor. The hospital celebrated her success, but the victory was bittersweet. Grayson's health was still fragile, and Lena grappled with the emotional weight of his offer. Did she want to be his daughter for his fortune, or because she genuinely cared? She wrestled with this question in quiet moments, staring at the ceiling of her apartment, wondering if she was chasing a dream or a delusion. The final challenge was unexpected. Grayson's estranged sister, Margaret, appeared, a woman as sharp and calculating as her brother. She questioned Lena's motives, accusing her of manipulating a dying man for his wealth. "You're no family to him," Margaret sneered during a heated confrontation in the hospital cafeteria. The words cut deep, reopening Lena's old wounds of rejection. She doubted herself, wondering if her bond with Grayson was real or a byproduct of his desperation. That night, she sat by Grayson's bed, confessing her fears. "I don't want your money, Victor. I want to know I'm enough." Grayson reached for her hand, his grip weak but steady. "You're more than enough, Lena. You're the daughter I never deserved." With renewed resolve, Lena pushed forward. She collaborated with a global team of oncologists, fine-tuning Grayson's treatment. The hospital became a second home, her life a blur of charts and hope. Grayson's condition stabilized, and though a full cure remained elusive, his prognosis extended beyond the initial 6 months. He began to talk about the future, about teaching Lena the intricacies of his empire. "You'll do better than I ever did," he said, a rare smile breaking through his stern facade. Lena realized she wasn't just fighting for his life, but for a connection she'd never thought possible. The story's climax came on a quiet spring morning, a year after Grayson's challenge. He was discharged from the hospital, weak but alive, his cancer in partial remission. Lena stood by his side as he signed the adoption papers, not for his fortune, but for the bond they'd forged. The hospital staff clapped, and even Margaret, softened by her brother's recovery, offered a grudging nod of respect. Lena felt a weight lift, not just the fear of failure, but the loneliness she'd carried since childhood. She had a family, not born of blood, but of trust and perseverance. As Grayson rebuilt his strength, Lena returned to her work with renewed purpose. She advocated for better funding for cancer research, using Grayson's story to inspire change. Her apartment, once a lonely refuge, became a place of warmth, filled with photos of her and Grayson, laughing at his estate, celebrating small victories. She'd faced doubt, exhaustion, and accusations, but she'd emerged stronger, proving that love and determination could defy even the grimmest odds. The story of Lena and Victor Grayson spread beyond the hospital, touching hearts through news articles and social media. It became a testament to the power of human connection, of fighting for someone not because of what they offer, but because of who they are. Lena never inherited Grayson's empire. She didn't need to. She'd gained something far greater, a father, a purpose, and the courage to believe in herself. As the sun set on another day at St. Augustine's, Lena walked through the ward, her white coat a badge of her battles. She paused by a patient's bed, offering a smile and a gentle word, just as that pediatrician had done for her years ago. She knew now that healing wasn't just about medicine. It was about giving someone a reason to keep going.